We were travelling along the road to Third Bridge. We're coming around a blind bend, and unfortunately someone in a Land Rover was also coming around a blind bend, and we connected.
Always look on the bright side of life.
I'm Andrew St Pierre White. Join me as I share my passion for building four-wheel drive trucks and then travelling to the remotest parts of the world. Welcome to Storytime. Today's story is about an event that took place in 1988.
Good morning.
This was the first time I had ever taken a video camera on safari with me, and centres around this building behind me. I am at Savuti, part of the Chobe National Park in central Botswana. And what happened here in 1988 resulted in that structure. It is an elephant-proof ablution block at the public campsite. And the story now is one of the most memorable, perhaps the most memorable, in all of my off-road overlanding 4x4 travels.
As long as you've got a clean pair of knickers, you can do anything.
Have you identified on birds?
The pelicans, I'm sure.
Oh, they're pelicans.
Yeah.
I decided to take a trip through Botswana. It was in May. It would be about 15 days. We would drive up from Johannesburg up to Maun. From Maun, up the western side of the Okavango Delta, which at that stage was just a muddy track, to Shakawi. From there, the plan was to head to Victoria Falls, collect a friend, and then head south to Savuti and Marimi, where we would meet more friends in their own Range Rover. Things began very well indeed.
The Makadikadi salt pans, as you can see, for water. It's the 20th. This afternoon we leave for Maun and stay at Crocodile Camp. And tomorrow we head to Lake Ngami and start our trip up the west side. This is the main Francistown Maun Road. We're about 230 kilometers from Maun, and the Makadikadi pans are absolutely swamped. And at this point behind us, we've just crossed, they've actually crossed the road.
On this part of the trip, I was travelling with my soon-to-be brother-in-law, Lewis, and a girl with the most outrageous sunglasses known to mankind.
So the 21st today. At the moment we're at the little town of Toteng, and we left Maun this morning, and we're on our way to Lake Ngami, where we hope we'll see a lot of bird life.
Having had a successful day yesterday with a pride of 5 lions just outside Maun.
It was really magic, 5 young lions.
We're on our way up to Shakawi. It should take us about 4 days to get there. We're carrying about 226 litres of fuel, and the car is taking a hammering. The roads have been absolutely terrible corrugations.
Yes.
Sweet. Zico, mano. Zico.
This is the road on the banks of Lake Ngami. We're having a bit of difficulty in finding the actual shores of the lake, which is to the left of us somewhere.
I'm sure that's a track line there.
This is Lake Ngami, nothing like I expected. It's thick, heavy thorn trees. We've been travelling through for about 3 hours. We've come across a few puddles, but I don't believe that that's the true lake itself. And they're certainly not fed by any dry waterways or anything. So tomorrow morning we'll try and find the actual bed of the lake, which is somewhere in that direction there, which is basically north of where we are.
Early the following morning, we did in fact find the bed of Lake Ngami.
This is Lake Ngami. Our guide here, Bob, showed us the way through the bush. We travelled for about 15 minutes through pretty heavy thorn trees. There's absolutely no water at all, but thank God we found it.
Our guide, Bob, then invited us to spend the night at his place.
And here comes the boss.
For all of you. For everyone.
Okay, Bob.
Thank you.
When we finish, I'll bring the bucket. Is that okay? No problem. Everyone, thanks very much.
It was now time to tackle the west road around the Okavango Delta. I'd been able to find out little about this road, other than the fact that I knew it was going to be hard and long.
Daybreak at the Shikawi fishing camp. This is the Okavango River, the river that feeds the Okavango Delta. Gwynn, of course, is still in bed.
The drive up from Maun to Shikawi was pretty uneventful. There was a little bit of mud, but Shikawi was a great place to take a break. Did some fishing, caught a tigerfish.
This fish took 3 days to catch. I'm talking about 20 of them.
Did you catch a fishy?
I caught a fishy. Don't touch him, he will bite you.
Don't fetch me a fishing rod so I can catch one as well.
It's grabbed it. Now I don't know whether I should put him back. Should I put him back?
And we had a puncture and got the vehicle ready for the second part. There were going to be 3 major parts to this expedition. The next one to drive to Victoria Falls, which is where we had arranged to rendezvous with Gwyn's friend Helen.
We're leaving Shikawi for Ngami Bridge, and we go back into Botswana, and we take the Cousin Gula Road through to Vic Falls, and we're going to pick up Helen 3 or 4 days down the line.
This is Andara behind me, Andara Mission Hospital, which I've had to visit because of an extreme case of the jippos. And the kind German doctor, obviously from Southwest, gave me some this and that and some dehydration tablets, whatever, with a total cost of 6 rand, which I think is not bad going. We're off to Kotimu Malilu now, on the long road, about 320 k's, and we'll spend the night there, and then pick up Helen tomorrow. Here we are crossing the Okavango River.
The following morning at Victoria Falls International Airport to collect Gwyn's friend Helen, and then on to the fabled Victoria Falls. We then returned to Botswana to camp at Serendela on the banks of the Chobe River to prepare for our drive south. Now, we had arranged to meet some friends of ours halfway through the expedition. So they would meet us on our way down at Moremi, and we would spend about 5 days in the Moremi enjoying the wildlife, and also spend part of that time coming up here to Savuti. So our experience was really, it was a wildlife one. We were looking for great wildlife encounters, which are pretty much guaranteed in this part of Botswana. We tried to get through the Ngotsa Road. The Ngotsa Road is a very little used track, and at the time we realized that in fact the track hadn't been used in many months because of the water, floodplains,
We're lost. We're in the middle of the Mapani trees. We're on our way to Savuti, but the road has made a detour around some big lakes. And the road is forked here, and there's a bit of a used section here, a bit of an unused section there. So Lou's now gone to find out if this section has been used more than that section. Basically, we don't know where the hell we're pointing. Eventually we'll continue and, with any luck, meet the original road again.
Must be that one there. There's even a road through there. Nothing.
Lots of elephants. I mean, we woke up one night surrounded by elephants, and we'd parked our tent in a little enclosure and in the Mapani forest, and these elephants came through, and it was quite scary. And at one time in the middle of the night, we actually got inside the car.
Right, what you see behind us here is a campsite where we spent a few worrying moments last night with a herd of elephants foraging behind us. The reason why we're here is that we spent 8 hours to do 100 miles yesterday through much swampland and much detouring around full pans in the middle of the road. And we were heading for Savuti, but seeing the condition of the road is so bad, we decided to camp over last night and turn around and head back to Serendela. Now the problem is to find the way back to Serendela. So when we get there, we'll tell you what happens.
We would clap when the car started.
Hey, baby. First difficult part is over.
It was mainly the battery leads and things like that were faulty, and had a lot of problems with the vehicle. We had spent an entire day, and we had covered an estimated 30 kilometers. And remember, in those days there were no GPSs. The road twisted and turned.
Follow me!
And it was really hard work. Lou would walk in front of the Range Rover and guide me through the thick bush. At times we were actually lost. We had to leave the main road and try and find another path through the bush because the mud was so thick and the pans were so flooded. It was a hell of an adventure. It really was an adventure, and we were just one vehicle on our own. And I remember at one stage actually coming back on the main track, and I came across a bump stop, and I picked it up, and I knew immediately it was from a Toyota Land Cruiser. And I thought, if a Land Cruiser is falling apart here, I haven't got a hope.
Traffic, I'll give you a fine next time.
Now, all of these events led to what happened next.
Right, so time is now 10 to 6. We've been here at Serendela since about 3:30, I would say, after having been on the road since 7 this morning, after an abortive trip into the interior. We ran out of beers, which was terrible.
We ran out of muddies.
Muddies, right. Let's introduce you to muddies. This is a muddy. This is a Botswana castle, which we've called a muddy because it has a rather muddy taste. Not quite our good old RSA castle, but good enough. Right, so we're going to spend the night here tonight, and probably most of the morning tomorrow have a late line and a nice brekkie, and then push on to Third Bridge, probably about 11 o'clock. We'll see what goes from there.
Mark, hopefully meet Mark and Sarah and...
They've got all the grub, we better meet Mark.
Notice the vulture.
While we were travelling along the road to Third Bridge, we were coming around a blind bend, and unfortunately someone in a Land Rover was also coming around a blind bend, and we connected. As you can see, the car is pretty damaged. What we're waiting for now is for the police to arrive, and then the people that we rode into are going to tow us to Ngami Bridge, and where Helen and I are going to try and get down to Third Bridge to let Mark know that this has happened, for him to come up here, pick us up and tow Lodi back down to Johannesburg.
So always look on the bright.
Basically what we've done to repair the damage.
As long as you've got a clean pair of knickers, you can do anything.
The other thing we had to deal with the guilt. when we sat down and realised what we had done.
We heated it up in a fire.
We had sent 2 girls off into the wilds of the African bush. Please, can we move? Now christened it the Strange Rover.
We haven't made it.